So I have this one-car garage. I've got a non-compromised shop, and I can still park my car in it. And that's who I'm speaking to. A compact table saw will far outperform a fixed heavy cabinet saw. How wide can I rip on the SawStop Compact Table Saw mounted on the Paulk Smart Station? How long can I rip? I will specifically answer those questions in this video, but more importantly, I'm going to go to the bigger question, the underlying question. What do I compromise? What do I give up when I go with a portable table saw, any brand, versus cabinet saw? My answer will come from over 3 decades of being a general contractor building new homes as well as doing remodels. And had I had this knowledge and the tools that are available today been available then, I would have saved well over $100,000 in tools. I would have made more profit on the job, and more importantly, I would have had more time to travel and take photographs and do a little surfing, which are my passions. 2 of those mission critical tools that were not available back then, track saw and parallel guides. The parallel guides that I use and swear by are made by TSO. They are the best by far. The second best don't even come close to these. TSO is having their back to the shop sale this weekend. I will put an affiliate link in the description of this video down below. If you use that link, they will compensate us, and that helps support the channel. How wide can you rip on the SawStop Compact Table Saw when it's mounted on the Paulk Smart Station? As wide as the saw allows you to rip. In this case, it's over 24 inches. That is true for any saw that you mount on the Paulk Smart Station. For years, I had the big brother to this. I think its rip capacity was pretty similar, but it was a much bigger saw. What about the fall off side of the blade? I mean, the miter saw is right in the way, 5 inches. What if I need more? 8 inches. What if I need more? 12 inches. What if I need more? Then I would slide the miter saw completely off. Then there would be no limitation. The foundational question, what are the compromises to go to a portable saw and give up the big professional cabinet saw? You're going to give up a lot. If you go with a cabinet saw, you're costing yourself money and space and time. A compact table saw will far outperform a fixed heavy cabinet saw in so many ways. I promise you, it isn't hyperbole. It comes from 30 plus years of being a general contractor in residential construction, building homes of all sizes, as well as doing major and minor remodels. In that time period, I had a cabinet shop, actually more than one. In those shops, I had big, heavy cast cabinet saws. Mine were Powermatic with big 5 horsepower motors. Had the big 52-inch Beastmeyer fence systems. And on one of the saws, I had a bolted on sliding table for doing cross cuts. It was about 50 inches, and I did a lot of construction and built a lot of cabinets with that setup. In addition to that, I had an 8-inch joiner with an 8-foot bed, a big radial arm saw, a gang drilling setup for doing the 5mm holes at 32mm spacing, a wide oscillating belt sander, various assembly tables, 20-inch bandsaw, multiple drill presses including freestanding and benchtop. In addition, I had a trailer and or a box truck over the years that was loaded up with portable tools so that I could take the things I built in the shop to the job site and install them. And I needed almost all of those tools again, at least the miter saw, the table saw, the assembly tables, and all of those types of tools to set up to do the final install. And what I learned, I could do all of that big shop stuff with the proper tools on the job, and I could do it more efficiently, because instead of going from the shop to the job site, which could be a great distance, to measure, to calculate, to figure out things, I brought the raw materials and the shop to the job and did all of the manufacturing on site. And the more my portable system evolved, the less I needed that fixed system. And I got to a point that I was supporting expensive equipment as well as a big space and the heat and the electricity and all the things that went with that. And I was using it less and less. And don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. I had gotten to a point that CNCs were starting to come on. They were far more expensive than they are now, but they were becoming more affordable. And I was very close at pulling the trigger and adding the CNC to the shop as well. And it was actually at that point in time where I was looking at investing in a big CNC as well as a sliding table saw with a 12-foot stroke, both adding up to quite a bit of money, that I decided that I just didn't need it, that I was able to do everything I needed to do and do it efficiently of the highest quality with my portable system. Now, I didn't have the Smart Woodshop. This came later. What I had been doing over the decades and had taken all of my portable systems and started to refine them and make them more efficient. And of course, this system has evolved over a decade. In fact, this channel where it all started is 13 years old. So there's a lot that goes into the workbenches, the Smart Station, the placement of the table saw, and how much I can rip. It's all precisely calculated over the years. My primary material then and now is plywood, 4x8 plywood. My structural material for cabinet boxes, custom closet packages, bookcase build-outs, mantles. Breaking down plywood is what it's all about. Now, I'm not talking about framing. I'm using different tools for that, and siding and sheeting the framing. That's a different set of tools. We're talking about once I get inside the house, once I start the finish, and I'm putting down hardwood, and I'm putting in base molding and crown molding and installing cabinets, building some cabinets, and doing all the custom millwork, staircases, all of those things. That interior work that the Smart Woodshop shines. And when I talk about breaking down plywood, I'm not talking about 2 or 3 sheets that I ran to Home Depot to pick up, which I do that as well. I'm talking about purchasing units and breaking down a lot of plywood. A table saw is absolutely 100% the wrong tool for breaking down plywood. It doesn't matter if it's a compact table saw or the biggest, heaviest cast iron cabinet saw you can buy. Neither one work well for that job. You're moving your sheet of plywood, an 8-foot sheet of plywood, against a fence, and it's up to you to guide it against that fence and push it through. The proper tool for doing it for efficiency and the best cut is a sliding table saw. And that sliding table saw needs a minimum of a 10-foot stroke, but they cost 10, 12, 15,000 depending on the saw. They are not portable. That's why a cabinet saw in my world has zero value. It doesn't really do anything better than what I need a table saw to do. I use a small table saw for narrow rip. All of the ripping I need to do can be done on the stock fence, the miter saw in place, and that is the layout, the thinking that went into this. Because what I'm ripping is plywood that's already broken down when I'm building cabinets and I need the 12-inch for shelving, or 3.5-inch for spreaders, those kind of things. Or if I'm working on millwork, it's always in 16-foot long goods, but it's 4, 6, 8 inches wide. I can rip all of that on this Smart Station with this table saw. And there's no limitation on the in feed and the out feed other than the limitation that the room that I'm in is giving me. Once I add the Smart Cart to the Smart Station, then I can be in a tiny little shop like this and angle it or move it or adjust it in this very shop. When I was finishing out this house here, I had 16-foot goods and I needed to rip them, and I ripped them in this place by opening that door behind the camera and this door and angling things, and I was able to feed in and out. So this setup has been designed and refined to deal with real-world, everyday woodworking that's required for construction and remodeling. Because of that, it also lends itself to the do-it-yourselfer, because it will do the woodworking things that you need. Your table saw ripping, your miter saw cross-cutting and mitering, dual router table, and then with the cradle on the other end, sanders or Krig jig or any kind of benchtop tools you can hang on this thing. What about breaking down plywood? that slide saw is really the only way to do it properly to get those nice crisp edges. And when you're doing a lot of it, like you're building cabinets, it's too much to ask to get that nice straight edge. And that's why big production cabinet shops break their plywood down on sliding table saws or on CNC for a fraction of the cost of a quality sliding table saw. I can buy a Festool cordless track saw, multiple tracks and parallel guides and a guide rail square and some other accessories that work with the track. And then not only can I do what a sliding table saw can do, I don't need the space to have that saw, and I can take it to the job with me. And even if I decided to build myself a big shop and put all of those big tools in, I would still need to have this setup, because what I built there, I need to take to the job and install, and I need good tools, quality tools, set up properly to do that fitting. And yes, I understand that this isn't for everybody. Big shops, lots of square footage, big machinery, and lots of woodworkers running those machines and producing thousands and thousands of cabinets and mantles and all of that production stuff. Those shops certainly need to be big and they need to have a lot of equipment. But I'm speaking to people like me. The Smart Woodshop trailer obviously is outdoors, and I'd much rather have a bigger place where I could have that inside, but I'm making this work. And with these benches and these wheels, I've not been hamstrung at all. I've been able to do everything I need, and I can still push these over to the side without breaking them down and bring the Prius in here. So I have this one-car garage, I've got a non-compromised shop, and I can still park my car in it. And that's who I'm speaking to. So if you just have a little space in your garage, but you want to have a wood shop because you're passionate about it, you want to work on your house, you have little woodworking projects that you want to do, you just want to enjoy working with wood, but you're not going to build a big shop, and you still need to park your cars inside, you can do it. The tools and knowledge that's available today was not available 30 years ago when I started. It really did take big tools back then. But now, with portable tools, small tools, battery cordless tools, you can do anything you want to do with wood in the space that you have. If this video was helpful, if you'll hit that thumbs up button, the one right there, it doesn't hurt, I promise, and it'll only take you a millisecond. That really helps support the channel. It tells YouTube that you're interacting and that you enjoyed it, and they'll share it with more people. If you'd like to get a set of plans, detailed plans to build yourself a smart station, a smart bench, any of the accessories that work with the system, or a smart wood shop, there is a link in the description of this video where you can go purchase plans and download them right now, 24/7, 365. Mahalo.